We are all equal. It's time that we're all heard. Welcome to A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila Gamble, and I'm super excited to have my two wonderful guests from Camp Concord. If you are a parent who is planning to send your child to summer camp and you're a little iffy about the summer camps out here, now's your opportunity to screen Camp Concord. At any point, if you want to get involved in the discussion, feel free to tweet me, email me, Facebook me. It's all down here. All down here at the bottom of the screen. But join me in welcoming Kevin and Melissa from,
Thank you.
I wonder where you're from.
I don't know. Let me just...
Where are you from?
We're from Camp Concord.
Get out!
Yeah. Yes.
This is just coincidence, by
Just
the way.
coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Green shirt's just dumb luck.
Okay,
Sometimes,
good call.
We actually do new shirts each summer, so if you know a color that you'd want.
Lime green.
Well, we just did green, though.
Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
I like your boots. Kevin, I heard you fought a bear on the way here.
Yeah, I just came from base camp, so I'm a little tuckered in the bear, you know, got a couple on me, but I think I fared okay. I think it's...
Yeah.
You look good.
Okay.
So tell me, do you fight bears, but what do you do at Camp Concord?
We don't fight bears.
Okay.
But we do the traditional and untraditional camp activities. So in traditional, we mean that we have canoeing, kayaking. We actually have horseback riding at Camp Concord, which is something that a lot of mainstream or special needs camps don't offer. And then the untraditional, we have kitchen, we do maintenance programs, an LIT program for our campers as well. So
Yeah, the focus is on the older kids. We find that a lot of the camps seem to dissipate or not take campers as much after the age of 16, and then almost nobody after 18.
Wow.
So we noticed that gap there, and we decided to organize our camp for working on those life skills, so the older campers that come can still get something out of it. And we, Melissa and I decided on this philosophy that if the kids can come to camp and get something out of it, they should continue coming, no matter what age.
yeah.
And that's what stood out to me when I was looking at your background and what you guys offer, is that it goes up to infinity and beyond pretty much. There is no cutoff. And you raised a good point. What happens to these kids when they turn 18? It's almost like, you know, they get pushed off the cliff, but at Camp Concord, you help them climb up that cliff.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
So tell me about the staff that you guys have.
Oh, we have an amazing, amazing crew, even coming back this summer. We have staff that have been with us for the past 4 years, and we have new staff we hire from the Peel District School Board, from school boards, people taking their social work degrees, and then we also train them for a week at our camp on our policies and procedures. And we look for people who have worked with children with special needs and adults with special needs, but also have that enthusiasm for camp and the outdoors. So
Enthusiasm is key.
well, that's
Right.
exactly it, and the passion and patience with us. Yeah.
Especially at overnight, which
Yes.
is my next question. Parents and overnight camps. Some people are willing to try it, and other parents are like, I'm not sure if this is right for me. How does your overnight camp work?
Well,
That's a common question that we get, actually, because a lot of parents are like, oh, he's going to be homesick. What do you do when he's homesick?
Yeah.
And it's not like we have a playbook that we flip through and be like, okay, well, we got 4 tiers, and you know he's talking about his dog. So we're gonna do. Each kid is different, but what I can say is I've been doing special needs camps now for about 11 years, and Melissa's been doing it for a long time also. So each kid is an individual, and each kid you need to sit down, give the attention and the patience that we spoke about earlier, and walk them through it. And there's different things that we do try, but at the end of the day, in the 11 years that I've been doing this job, I think I've had 1 or 2 campers actually go home with homesickness out of the hundreds that I've had come through camp. So I think
That's a pretty good track record.
yes,
it's a great
If I was a baseball player, I'm doing very well.
You're doing pretty good.
yeah, and I think one of the other things that we suggest for the parents is to check out the camps. Come up.
I like that.
We're in Bancroft, so it's not the easiest drive, but we make a day out of it. We do weekends where we encourage our campers or potential campers to come up, because once you see where your children are going to be for the next week or 2 weeks, sometimes a month, and you just, I mean, parents are like, can we come? Can we come and stay here instead? And so they kind of fall in love with it.
And that's how you know you have a good system,
Yeah.
when the parents are coming back and they're asking if they could stay. And I'm sure the kids are like, Mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Our return rate right now is about 90%.
Yeah.
So once the campers come and they go home after their 2 weeks or a month stint, the parents send us. We have some lovely letters sent by parents.
Oh, I like that.
It's that threshold for the parents, like you mentioned before, of saying, okay, my kid's gone for a week or two, and it's going to be the best thing for him, and also the best thing for me. I think the kids need the break from the mom, and dad, of course, and then sometimes the mom and dad need the break from the
Absolutely.
camper. So both parties win, in my opinion. And if you can have a kid at camp for a week or two, the amount of skills and life skills and social skills training that you can do in those intense 2 weeks with a 2-to-1 ratio, a registered nurse. All of our staff, pre-mentioned, are in school to become psychologists, social workers, behavioral teachers.
So very well.
Oh, very well.
Yes.
And they're never out of touch in this technological world. We actually started last year 2 things. We started a newspaper where our campers actually wrote
oh, that's a really cute
articles,
idea.
and then we sent the newspapers home for the parents to see what they were doing. And we actually started blogging last summer as well, and it was a secure site where the parents could go and read what their kids were doing that day, so the parents actually felt like they were there, and it allowed them to have that that reassurance that their kids were having fun and that they were safe, which was amazing, and give us feedback as well.
So speaking about your campers, what typical disabilities do you see coming into your camp?
I think the highest disability that we deal with is autism, which is just, again, because of the high rates of autism these days. But we actually have
pretty wide spectrum. We have some very interesting cases that we need to read up on sometimes. So fused skull syndrome, Prader-Willis, Fragile X, Down syndrome. There's a litany that we take. And what we do is we go into each house and we meet each camper. And we sit down and we have a chat with the parents and with the camper, and we make the assessment then if we think they're going to be successful there. So we don't have a set criteria of who we can and cannot come to camp.
I love that. I really love that it's mixed.
And we're actually an integrated camp, so we take campers that may just need that year of extra support before they integrate into the mainstream camp. So we actually work with a partner camp, and we work on those social skills and help maintain and make friends and keep friends. And it does as much for our campers as it does for the mainstream campers. So in terms of special needs, you don't actually have to have a diagnosis written down. If you're a parent and you feel like your child just needs that extra 2-to-1 support, we will work with you as well.
I don't think I've ever heard of that in other camps. I think a lot of people always look for that diagnosis. And there are some parents right now, even at the school that I work at, are looking to get that diagnosis. But to know that there's a camp who goes, hey, who cares what it is, bring them in.
As long as we're a good fit and that we think that they'll be successful and the parents think that this is a good fit for them, we don't see a reason why not.
Now, can people volunteer at Camp Concord?
We can. I'm sorry, thinking about our volunteer from this past summer who was amazing.
Yeah, we really lucked out there. Yeah, so we do have options for volunteers to come in and work with the kids at camp through our screening process.
And there's one question I forgot to ask you in the beginning. What inspired you to even start Camp Concord? Was it your own personal camp experiences, and maybe you didn't like how it was run back then and you wanted to do something better?
This was a small business that we started about 4 years ago in Brampton. And the main things that always bothered me was that after 18, there's nothing for the special needs kids to do. The other thing that kind of irritated me was that the prices of special needs camps is extremely high. That's
outrageous.
Yes. So I wanted to design a camp that would have a mainstream component, so kids can come and have that integration piece. That's a good price, and that can say yes to just about everybody. And I think that's why our mantra, our lexicon that we designed was based around that.
And to be able to have that safe and secure environment for individuals of all ages, of all abilities, that's what spoke to me. And I just, the whole integration perspective, I know it's a big word out there in society right now, but that's, I think, a lot of the draw for a lot of parents for us is saying, you know what, they're going to be with their peers that they would be with in
And
school.
you do have a segregated component as well, right?
Well, we live in a beautiful winterized lodge that was just redone.
I call it the Hilton of the camping industry.
And
Very
so we
nice.
have our own, we sleep as a camp, as Camp Concord, but then we eat and do the activities and integrate some of our campers with their peers of similar
Okay, great.
ages
Okay.
with the mainstream camp.
Good to know.
That way, because again, nighttime and some of those early morning routines we find are the most difficult, so that's why we have our winterized lodge, which has a full kitchen downstairs where we can work on our daily skills, or sometimes just do cheap nights at the movies and cook dinner downstairs and watch a movie and take showers upstairs, and that's just our.
So I'll send my
our life.
application in to get signed up for a week off. But honestly, what you guys are doing and the fact that you offer so much, it's not your typical arts and crafts and, you know, sit down and watch a movie. Fabulous work. And I'm sure there's a lot of parents, I hope there's a lot of parents who are watching tonight and they're saying this is a camp that I want to consider. So if you want to send your child to Camp Concord, the information will follow after the show. If you have any questions, feel free. You can see they're open people. Definitely email them, ask your questions, go have a visit, you know, in the upcoming weeks, because I know now's the time that parents are looking into that. So thank you so much, Kevin and Melissa, for being on the show. Thank you for having Camp Concord.
Thank you for having us.
I would love to have my own shirt, preferably Camp Concord with Miss Jam's name on the back.
I like that.
My favorite number is, let's go with 17.
17.
17, bejeweled.
Oh, now you're
You know,
getting
a
fancy.
matching hat.
Yeah. We haven't gone into hats yet.
Well, we
but
can talk about this after the show. It's a whole new market that we could explore.
Absolutely.
Hats, wristbands.
Clothing line.
Clothing lines.
Yeah.
But you got 10 seconds. What are the last points you want people to know about Camp Concord?
Oh, well, that's a huge.
Oh, now you have
question. Go.
5.
I think the main thing to always remember is that at the end of the day, everybody's just kids and wants to have fun. And that's what we try and do at Camp Concord. I'd say that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Sums it up pretty nicely to me. So if you, once again, think Camp Concord, clearly they are serious people here. They came with their matching shirts, husky boots. They tackle bears. You don't have to worry about bears coming after your child. But thank you so much, Camp Concord, and stay tuned after this break. Camp Concord. For more information, visit www.campconcord.ca. You can email them at info@campconcord.ca or call them at 416-602-1292. Welcome back to A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila. If it is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you don't know what A Voice for All is about, it's a show that is dedicated to disability awareness, whether it's promoting individuals, supporting families, and showcasing local organizations. If at any point you'd like to get involved in tonight's discussion, feel free to tweet me, join the Jam Fam at facebook.com/Miss Jam Gamble. I love to hear from you, or maybe if you have a show topic, feel free to email me. I welcome your suggestions. Up next, we have our local voice segment, and my guest today is Vicky. Welcome, Vicky, to Voice for All.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Vicky and I have a bit of history. I don't know how many years back we go.
Probably 2 or 3, maybe 3? Longer
Vicky,
than that, I don't
it's
know.
like 4.
That's
Let's
a
go
while.
4.
Yeah, okay, 4.
But we used to work with each other, so when I was thinking of perfect people to be on the show to talk about their story as a frontline advocate, educator, everything that you do, I thought Vicky would be perfect. So Vicky, tell us what you're currently doing in the community.
I currently work for a company called Hope Autism Services. I'm an IBI therapist. I'm also the fundraising and event coordinator for the Peel chapter of Autism Ontario.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I write a little private blog, special needs advocating blog, just about things that kind of happen in my daily life with individuals who have disabilities.
So what brought you into the field to begin with?
You know what? People always ask me that, and I really couldn't tell you. It's just something that has always been there, you know? It's always been an interest, even when you're in elementary school. It's just something that always sticks out in your head. And after years of doing music theater and going to college for it and realizing that that's not where I wanted to be, you kind of figure out where your heart is, and this is definitely where it was. So.
And so with what you do, what are some of the tender moments that you encounter? Is it the kids you work with? Is it supporting the families?
You know, the tender moments are when you have those times when it's like, you know, what can I do to get through? You feel like nothing's working, and you feel like, you know, it's not going anywhere. And then it's like that little second where that person you're working around turns and says, Vicky, and you're like, I am getting through, you know, we are doing something right. And it's moments like that when you realize that you're not going to give up and they're not going to give up on you, right? So.
And you just said something that really stood out to me. It's those hard moments. Unfortunately, being in this field, I'm sure you've heard of it, that there's high burnout, there's, you know, allegations of abuse, a lot of unfortunate stories that happen. So you mentioned, you know, even if it's one of your clients saying your name, but how do you get through being burnt out? How do you get through those hard moments that maybe some days you question, am I doing the right job?
You know, they always say you got to keep work at work, you know, don't bring any of the emotion home. And it's so hard when you're so close with these individuals, right? For myself, a lot of it is, you know, leaving stuff at work, but then bringing the good things home, you know, not dwelling on the negativities or the things that you think you could have done better.
Right.
Just bringing home the things that are positive, the things that are going to keep you moving tomorrow, right? So for me, it's just bringing home the good and keeping the bad where.
That's a really good strategy. I like that. And thinking about it and reflecting on, you know, okay, maybe I did this wrong. Hey, not every day is going to be a perfect day. So what makes you an advocate? What are you doing within the Peel region to promote disability awareness?
Awesome. So what I started to do actually was just private fundraisers on my own. So whether it was holding a garage sale to give somebody funds to autism
I have to stop you. Tell your bracelets. Are you still?
Yes,
okay,
I did,
tell us about that. I just remember that.
So I started making jewelry about 2 years ago, and around World Autism Day, I decided to make jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and sell them to anyone that wanted one. I took the proceeds from it and donated to the Peel region of Autism Ontario, so the Peel chapter. I still do it as much as I can, so when everyone comes and asks for them, they're still available. Just
That's
things that I've
awesome.
made at home, yeah.
Okay.
So trying to get that out there. So anything from just regular fundraisers that I can create on my own to raise awareness. I'm also with the Peel board, with the Peel chapter of Autism Ontario, we hold a golf tournament to get the word out there. It's great. It's a lot of...
You golf.
I don't. I pretend I do. I don't golf.
You wear the shirt,
I wear the shirt.
and you just pose.
Yeah,
Got it.
carry the clubs just for the sake,
Show.
yeah.
I like that. So you've been in the field for roughly how many years now?
About 6.
About 6. How much longer do you see yourself doing this?
46. I know it's hard to pinpoint those things because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? But at this point in my life, this is the only place I could see myself ever being.
Wow. And that, to me, that one line, you don't know. It's just something that you go day by day. But if you were to have a glimpse of the future and say, this is what I see myself doing or starting, what's one big thing you'd like to get yourself involved in?
You know, I've always been a firm, well, you know, the funding. A lot of it for me is the awareness and the fundraising and getting the word out there. I feel like a lot of people know what autism is and know what Down syndrome is, but do they know what it is and what it takes for families to go through things like this? So ideally, you know, I would just like to get that out there. Notify people how much it is to, you know, be in IBI therapy, ABA therapy, right? So a lot of people just think, whatever, it's just, but no, it's expensive and it's tough and it's not easy for everyone, and I feel like there's a lot of ignorance towards that, and I would really like to get that awareness out there.
And speaking on ignorance, what can we as a community do to end that stigma, to show families, show, you know, children, adults that we understand?
Be open. I mean, don't turn a blind eye. If you see somebody, or be friendly, say hello, do things that you just normally wouldn't do. Put yourself out there, you know? Whether it's telling somebody the statistics of autism or telling somebody, you know, I do this or I have a friend who does this, getting that word out there, even just having the smallest conversation about it, right?
Yeah, and that's true, because a lot of people I find that I encounter, they know the facts, but they don't really know the simplified version. And you know, the first question they will ask me is, well, how do you work with someone with a disability? And I go, well, I look at them as a person.
Yeah.
First and foremost, they're a person who just happens to have a disability. And the same way I would talk to you, I talk to them. Because for all I know, sure, physically they may look a certain way, but cognitively they understand everything.
Yeah. I find a lot of the time you get the whole, you tell someone what they do and they're like, you know, you must be such a patient, caring person. And I always reply with, it's not me that has the patience, it's the people that accept me into their life. Like, you know, when a family, when you're being hired into an organization, do you think that they walk into those group homes or walk into places and say, is this person okay to come in and work with you today? Doesn't really happen.
No.
I'm forced into individuals' lives, right?
That's a very good point.
And it's not the patience that I have to work with them or to be with them or to care for them. It's the patience that they have to care for me. They might not like my jokes. They could not like my hair. We don't know, right?
I know your jokes.
So it's well, one of few. But yeah, so it's not about my patience. It's really about theirs and their ability to care for me when, you know.
And that's another good point, though, because I remember a couple years back I was starting a program, and you know how there's the whole Build a Bear? I went to do Build a Staff, and it was for parents and their child to kind of say, this is the kind of person I like to work with. I want to work with someone who's tall. I want to work with someone who's a male, someone who's funny, someone who's into Star Wars. Yeah. So you kind of, they had to say, because you're right, a lot of times we're just forced in and they don't have that choice. Now, with you being an advocate, what is some frustrations you have with how people misinterpret what we do? You know, some people call us babysitters, some people, you know, nurses. What's something that you wish people would not think?
It's not so much maybe about people would not think about me. It's what people would not think about the individuals that we support, you know? There's situations where you're physically hurt or there's something where you're in danger. And I find that a lot of people kind of don't understand the thought process behind it, you know? It's just, you know, you were hurt at work, let's go. But it's not
why you were hurt at work.
Why I was hurt at work, what situation was happening, what was going through that person's head, and you know, and it's not thought through as much as like the first word that comes out of your mouth, right? There should be, I wish there was a deeper thought process to things like that. It's not so much myself because,
no, but you know, yourself is important.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, you know, and being in this, and, you know, some days I find I have to kind of self-reflect and go, okay, you know what, I was a little bit frustrated today, or I was a little bit emotional today. Tomorrow, you know, I want to work on that. And I think to any frontline staff who may be watching, if you feel that, you know, because Vicky and I are talking about being burnt out and things like that, if you're feeling emotional, if you're feeling frustrated, instead of bottling that in and then taking it out on someone who doesn't deserve to have that unleashed on them, talk to someone, you know, let it out, speak it out, and then kind of come back to yourself. You know, and with what you're doing, I'm sure there's tons of parents who are appreciative that there are staff like you out there. I don't like to think of myself as a staff.
No.
You know, maybe as a friend. I know people have their issues about us, you know, calling ourselves friends or things like that, but it is a relationship.
It is a very, your biggest part of this individual's life is their parents are, you know? If you're, sometimes you're with them 20, 30 hours a week, right?
Absolutely.
And what do you say? Like, I'm your friend. I'm here for things. There's things that you can tell me that you can't tell your parents. There's things that I can do for you that maybe your parents can't. So you are a friend to them. You're not just a worker. You're not just a staff member. You're a friend. You're a supporting individual for that person.
Well said. And it's true that if there are parents out there who, you know your child needs a staff who is a male or someone who's funny, someone who's like Vicky, you know, vocalize that these people play a huge role in your child's life. And in some cases, like you said, we are with them more than their parents are, right? That is a huge responsibility. So if you could summarize very quickly, what is one thing ultimately you love about your job? One thing.
It's definitely waking up in the morning and knowing that you're going to surround yourself with some really amazing people.
Beautiful. Beautiful. If you like to share what you love about your job, or if you're a parent and you like to share stories of, you know, your child's success with some organizations that they work with, feel free to email me, join the Jam Fam, tweet. This has been an awesome show on The Voice for All. Thank you, Vicky, for being a guest, and I'll see you guys next week.